Hi, I'm Kate Richburg for Beaducation.com, and today I'm going to cut, no pun intended, through the mystery of using these Xuron cutters. Okay, so here are the Xuron wire cutters sitting right here on your screen. And we have two of the Xuron cutters. We have the Xuron Micro Shear cutter, and then we have the Xuron Maxi Flush cutter. This Micro Shear cutter is perfect for cutting gauges of wire up to 18 gauge. That's this wire right here. This Maxi Flush cutter is great for wires that are up to 12 gauge, and also flat wire that is up to 1 millimeter in thickness. This is a real heavy-duty cutter. These tools differ from conventional wire cutters because conventional wire cutters, when they cut with a compression cut, so they squeeze the wire and then the wire comes away. These shears actually utilize a shearing cut. The heads of these tools actually bypass themselves a little bit so they can really slice cleanly through the metal. Let me show you what I mean. So here's a little illustration to show you the blades close up. So here are the blades of the Xuron cutters. Now you can see, and you'll see this when you get your tool at home, one blade is slightly lower and one blade is slightly higher. That's certainly not a defect in the tool. That's actually called a bypass shear. And what makes a bypass shear so terrific is, number one, it gives you this nice flush cut with just a tiny little nib that you need to file away. And on finer gauges, you hardly even see that little nib. The other reason is when this shear comes in to cut your wire, you really use much less force as you're cutting the wire, because this bypass shear just requires about half the effort to cut the wire as compared to just regular wire cutters. So with a heavy gauge wire, it really makes a lot of difference. You don't have to exert a whole lot of force with your hand to get that thick wire cut nice and cleanly. Okay, so here we have a super close-up zoom for you to see what's going to happen when I actually cut this wire. This is a 12 gauge wire, and this is the Xuron Maxi Flush cutter. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to go ahead and make that cut. This is the flush side of the cutter, so I'm going to close it in the middle of the heads of the cutter, put my finger right there so the wire doesn't go flying away, and cut. Now can you see I didn't exert much force when I was squeezing that cutter closed, and look at how flush this 12 gauge wire is. It's nice and flush. It might need just a little touch with the file, but hardly any at all. You really want to preserve the tips of these cutters. So anytime I cut a heavier gauge wire, either on these orange handled cutters or on the blue handled cutters, I make sure to insert my wire in the middle of the cutting heads. I reserve the tips for really finer gauged wire because that thick gauge wire is going to, it may eventually nick the tips of your tool. But this is a good, sturdy, heavy tool. Both of these cutters are terrific, and if you treat them well, they're going to last you for years to come.